Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and the compact crossover class has become so competitive because realistically, this is the most versatile size of vehicle that you can get while still being relatively easy to drive, easy to park, and not being terribly inefficient with fuel economy. So that's why the Toyota RAV4 is the best-selling vehicle here in the United States, even taking out the Ford F-150 when you break out for F-150 and Super Duty classes. And Honda's CR-V is their best-selling model through and through for a number of years now. Now, personally, I prefer the CR-V over the RAV4, and interestingly enough, the new Toyota RAV4 just came out. Reviews are out from the first drive, and both Motor Trend and Car and Driver put them through a comparison test and picked the Honda over the Toyota. And I can't blame them because this is such a nice and easy car, not just to drive, but also to live with. So the one you're looking at right here, 2026 model, it's the EXL, which means it's the highest level trim you can get without getting the hybrid powertrain. This one's powered by the 1.5 liter turbocharged gas only engine. It's not my favorite. I prefer the hybrid, but the hybrid does cost a little bit more depending on how you cut it. The CR-V comes in a lot of different trims. We're going to talk about that here a little bit later in the video, but this EXL is kind of a weird spot. It's sort of similar to the Sport Civic that we had last week, where it's kind of not expensive enough to be worth paying for, but it's not cheap enough to kind of be a bargain. It's sort of this awkward in-between. So today we're going to go through my pros and cons on the CR-V and talk about why I would still pick this over so many of the other compact crossover vehicles, despite it being a little bit older compared to some of the brand new entrants in this class. But opening up this cargo area to do a little bit of overview on the car, you see how low the load floor is, and you also see this video sponsor for today, Lay's Fit. If you've been watching the Daily Motor reviews lately, you know we've been working with Lay's Fit a lot, both with their flexible 3D measured TPU all-weather floor mats, but also with their headlights. I put a set of Lay's Fit LED headlight conversion bulbs in my truck. They were fantastically bright. But lately we've been putting Lay's Fit mats in just about every car we review, and that's because I genuinely appreciate them. They actually add value to the vehicles, and they're so simple and easy to use, and I can wholeheartedly recommend them to viewers because look how nicely cut out and measured they are. Even this little hump goes right around here, has spots that you could cut out to get to these metal tie-down hooks should you choose to use them regularly. That's pretty darn cool. And then if we come back in here into the second row, the back seat I suppose, which, side note, look how nice this door opens. If you're loading car seats in here, which I have been doing, incredible amount of opening space there. Honda thought well of that. But look at this rear liner. If you have children or just people who ride back here regularly, you're going to want this sort of coverage because it makes a nice tray around here and goes way under the front two seats, which means if you've got feet under there that are all dirty, it's still going to be covered. It goes up and over the mild hump right around our USB-C ports and the rear air vents. Covers this whole area. And then, of course, the one that's going to get the most use, the front two, especially the driver. And look how well it's cut out around here. And a little interesting that it doesn't go up on the door sill like we've seen with some of the other models. But something I have seen that I don't think I've seen on any Lay's Fit mats before is actual real cutouts for the clips that Honda uses. So I can put that down here, push down and turn, and it locks the floor liner in place. Again, you can see it goes way up on the dead pedal underneath the brake and gas pedals. So if you've got muddy, slushy, dirty shoes, boots, whatever, if you live in that sort of climate that's not beautiful and dry pretty much all the time like it is here in Southern California, then you can have this nicely protecting your carpet and easy to pull out and clean. And you can even see, despite how beautiful it is almost every single day here, I've still got junk here from filming with the Lay's Fit mats. So I'll just be able to take this out, knock them off, pour them out, put them back in, as opposed to having to clean my carpet. And again, you can see over on the passenger side, similar story. So if you do want to pick yourself up a set of Lay's Fit mats, either for your CR-V or for any other vehicle, check the link below. I can get you 18% off, very specific number there, 18% off using the code DailyMotor. Check the link below, and big shout out to Lay's Fit. getting into my cons and pros here with the CR-V, especially in this EXL trim. And the first off is the sound system. Now, obviously, I am a big sound system enthusiast. We have a whole dedicated channel over at DM Sound for sound system reviews. For sound system reviews. And you can find the review to this one linked below. But it's only an 8-speaker sound system. And unlike the 8-speaker in the Civic, which was, not great, but reasonable for the price, this is not reasonable for a $39,000 car. It simply sounds bad. You've got 4 speakers up front, 4 speakers in the back, and it's not enjoyable to listen to your music. If this were a base LX model, okay, fair enough. You're not paying for bells and whistles. But this is the most expensive gas-only model you could get, and you've got a trash sound system? Unacceptable in my eyes. And then it's the fact that you have to pay all the way up for the very, very top-level sport touring hybrid trim just to get the quite solid 12-speaker Bose sound system. So I would like to see either some Bose branding, improve the speaker quality here on this 8-speaker system, or maybe give us a center channel and a subwoofer, make it 10 speakers, and just tune it better, Honda. Come on, this is not good. And that leads into the next con, and it's just general feature availability on the CR-V as a whole. Unlike some of the other competitors in this class, you cannot get ventilated seats. You cannot get a head-up display. You cannot get a camera rearview mirror. You cannot get a 360-degree camera, and you cannot get a panoramic sunroof. Now, you might not care about some of those features, but you might care about others. So again, the fact that regardless of how much money you want to spend, you can spend probably about $45,000 on a Honda CR-V and not be getting any of those features when they're very available on the competitors. I'm disappointed for the pricing at that point. I could do without those, but then I want to have the pricing reflect that. Next con is going to sound really minor, but no physical slider for brightness control of the screens. If you want to change the brightness, especially if you drive often at night and especially in varying conditions, if you have the sun setting and then maybe you're in a city area and then you go into more of a rural area, you're going to want to change your screen brightness. You have to do that with the controls in the screens. You can't just do a little scroller or roller or toggle or anything like that. Not the end of the world, but for a car that, aside from that, has so many great, easy-to-use physical controls, it's disappointing for them not to just have a little brightness slider, which they've done in so many of their previous vehicles. Next con out here on the road is the road noise. Even if I close the sunroof shade right there, there's no getting around it. It's loud. And I know this is a concrete section of highway. This is going to be about the worst it gets. But I'd like it to be a bit quieter. That's all I can really say. It's not egregious, but it's not fantastic, again, for the refinement of the rest of the vehicle and the price point. The last con is the trim structure here for the CR-V. At the bottom, you have the LX, and I'm fairly certain it doesn't have proxy key, but other than that, it's got everything you need to have in a compact crossover, including wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I'm very happy to see that even at entry level now. But about $31,000, you're getting a Honda CR-V. It's going to be functional transportation. That's great. Some people, that's all they want. They just want a car that's going to work well and it's going to be reliable, easy to use. That's the LX. And then you kind of walk up and eventually you get introduced to the Sport Hybrid. And then you get this EXL, which says it starts around $35,000, but then you got to put destination. And then if you choose all-wheel drive and the paint color like this, you're looking at nearly $40,000. For that same price, if not a little bit less, depending on how you spec it, you can get the new Trail Sport model, which gets you the hybrid powertrain, as well as some kind of cool badging and styling and a fun extra color. And the hybrid, again, hybrid, which drives so much nicer than this 1.5, gets better fuel economy. I vastly prefer it. It's more powerful too. So I would give up the leather seats and really not much else, and I would get the Trail Sport model over this. And then you can spend all the way up toward close to $45,000 to get yourself the Sport Touring all-wheel drive. That's going to get you the Bose sound system. That's just going to get you a very, very nice to drive and spend time in CR-V. So I don't really see the point of buying essentially anything other than an LX or EX or Trail Sport or a top-level sport touring hybrid. Because if you really want to pinch pennies, just get yourself the base car. If you want to get nice features, get yourself the sport touring, pay more. And if you just want the hybrid, get yourself the trail sport. I don't see enough features in this EXL model to justify paying as much as you are just for this powertrain. Coming back here static for my pros, and the first one is the styling. I have so much appreciated the styling on Hondas recently. I thought mid to late 2000 teens, they were a little weird for me. They were going a little bit too boy racery with the Civic and just a little too funky. But now they've reached this excellent blend of modern, aggressive, and handsome all together. I think the Accord, the Civic, the Passport are all fantastically styled, and this CR-V is no different. Very attractive headlights, nicely sized grille and badge. This one coming with an optional white paint, costs about $500. I don't think I'd pay extra for white, but you can get some great colors on this car. The plastic cladding, fairly subtle, nice colored gray wheels, and you got styling that comes all the way into the back, complements the sort of classic CR-V taillight design, while again, it's still looking modern. And I found this interesting, minimal badging on this model, just CR-V, no EXL or anything like that badging. So very nice styling, both inside and out. You come into the inside of the vehicle, and tasteful use of accents throughout. Nothing jarring, nothing out of place, and no piano black plastic up there where you're going to touch it. So yeah, very well designed and well styled vehicle inside and out. Next pro, the tires. It's a combination between the fact that here on this EXL model we have 18-inch wheels with a whole chunk of sidewall on there, and that makes it so if you're going over speed bumps or broken road, anything that you have kind of an initial bump harshness, it absorbs it really well. Not to mention the tire pressures are fairly low. If I remember correctly, 35 psi in the front, 32 in the rear, so you're really getting able to absorb bumps and impacts very nicely. It's almost just like an easy way to make a good suspension. And then on the vein of tires, you come up under here and you have a spare tire. Now it is still a compact temporary use spare tire, but it's a spare tire and a jack nonetheless. Now you probably don't get that with the hybrid, but it's nice to have it here in the EXL. Next pro, the simplicity and the ease of use of a Honda. Now I said in the cons, it's a bit of a frustration that we don't have more features in this car, but that's because with Hondas, they focus more on having a car that complements your life in an ease of use and functionality standpoint, rather than a showy, feature-packed look at me standpoint. So theoretically speaking, you're going to be able to hop in this car, fire it up, drive it to your work or your school or your school pickup, whatever you're doing, for years and years and years, and it's always going to work. It's always going to function the same. And the muscle memories and the ease of use for everything are going to be so straightforward and simple. Look at all these physical controls. Physical controls for volume and track selection and cruise control. Climate with great clickage. I mean, there are Audis that feel like this. Very, very nice turning, all the buttons, good, easy to use shifter. Every control, aside from that brightness control, is straightforward, nice, and easy to use. And it goes further than that. It's everything that you do throughout the car feels well thought out. Like I was saying earlier, the back door is opening so wide in order to get children or car seats into here. That has been huge. And then if you fold down the seats, look how the bottoms sort of go forward and the whole thing comes down, so you have an entirely flat surface. Now there's still a hump right here, but again, they've thought of that with this hard plastic sort of cover aspect. It's a car that really feels like it was lived with and thoughtfully considered before being put out into production. And cap it all off, capless fuel filler. Next pro, as we fire up the car, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto support. And I'm going to extend that all the way to the general infotainment. If you look at this right here, it's very simple. There's no navigation, there's no Sirius XM. It's a very basic infotainment screen, but it just works. And most people just want their phone to start projecting from their pocket or their purse or wherever it is, just like that. Didn't have to press anything. All of a sudden, Android Auto is up, and I'm driving. So I've got my navigation. I've got my audio and media right where I left off from whatever else I was doing. It's set and it's ready to go. Especially in this day and age where you have GM entirely abandoning Apple CarPlay and Android Auto in their vehicles. This is how most people want it. And yes, Honda has a fantastic Google-based infotainment system in their upper-level trims of the CR-V, but I honestly don't really care because, yeah, that navigation works well, but you know what else works really well? My phone. So as long as the car just wirelessly projects my Android Auto, I'm good. I'm good to go. The last pro is something I talk about with a lot of Hondas, but it's what I call Honda-ness. It's a mixture of the build, the feeling, the way it drives, the way it works, and then also the ownership experience. Honda dealers are notoriously easy to work with. Side note, this is a rare color for the Focus ST. I believe they only made this in the last model year, the Focus ST. I don't know the name, but that is a very nice car, madam or sir. Anyway, Honda dealers are notoriously easy to work with. They're great to get your car serviced. It's a company and a dealership network and a product that you can trust and stand behind. And that's why so many families, once they start purchasing Hondas, they just stay with Hondas because they've had such a good experience with them. And that's no different here in the CR-V. It's a good reason to go with this car over something like a Tucson or a CX-5 or even a RAV4. I mean, I have not been impressed with Toyota dealerships and their price markups and their kind of nickel and diming and sleaziness, but you don't really seem to get that with Hondas in the same way. So, my final thoughts here on the CR-V. I quite like this car. However, like I said, I wouldn't pick this trim. I'd either save myself some serious coin, get something more basic, but realistically, I would spend more and I would get the hybrid. Or maybe not even spend more, I would just get the new hybrid Trail Sport model. That hybrid powertrain is just so fantastic, and it would make me enjoy the car that much more. I'd be happy to give up leather seats in order to get that one. And then I would be really tempted to spend more to get that Bose audio system, because goodness, this 8-speaker is not doing it. But before we fully wrap up, we need to put the CR-V on the Daily Motor leaderboard. Current leaders on the Daily Motor leaderboard: Ford F-150, Hyundai Santa Fe, and Honda Passport. The top 10 cars right now are all filled with cars that kind of have a soul and a real character to them that makes them exciting. The CR-V doesn't have that. It's a very, very nice to use appliance, but it's an appliance at the end of the day. So it's gonna go right here. Oh, you know, I think it's gonna, I initially was gonna put it below the Crown Signia and Vista, but actually with the pricing, no, I put it this way. I would put the EXL below those two, but as a lineup as a whole, an entire CR-V, because I have driven the Trail Sport and the hybrid and everything, I'm putting it above those. 15th place, below the Ranger Raptor and above the Crown Signia and Vista. So, thank you all so much for watching. If you do want to see more on the Honda CR-V, check the link below. We've got the dedicated fuel economy test, we've got the sound test, and the members only sound test. We also got previous coverage of the other models. Another shout out to video sponsor LaceFit. If you want to pick up those mats, check the link below and get yourself some money off and some good protection on your floors. And we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.